everything, the biggest note was to be scary. That was kind of what they were after, was that it's a PG-13 movie, there's no blood, but it needs to be proper scary. A lot of the rest of the film, we had Troy, the performer, be able to at least play a part of the Jangly Man, but this whole initial sequence with the head coming out of the chimney all the way until he's standing up was entirely CG.
We needed to be able to take him apart, put him back together, twist his head almost a full 360, contort him in almost unhuman-like positions, and this all had to be done in such a seamless way that it would not get in the way of the animators working with our rigs. So we set up 2 separate rigs for it, one for disassembly, where it would allow each limb to come apart and essentially become its own character, where the animator could take full control over each individual limb. And we had our main rig that controlled the Jangly Man once he was put together. We had a switch between them that could turn from one to the other seamlessly.
The Pale Lady's Chuck's ghost, and his biggest fear is kind of being overparented by his mom. So the idea is kind of the whole kill him with kindness. So we had to kind of walk that fine line between, we needed to be scary, but she'd always need to be smiling and really inviting. We ended up replacing her whole face, basically kind of from the halfway point of the sequence all the way to the end. Once her face was close enough to camera that you needed to see that it was kind of animating and moving, we took over the whole face, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. The goal, what Andre wanted, was this persistence of vision. No matter which way Chuck looks at the end, is he sees the exact same image of her with the same smile kind of forever slowly rising across all the angles until there's that big kind of smothering hug, and that's what it is really. She basically kind of hugs him to death.
The director had a lot of notes on the straw coming out of Tommy, as that had to feel like its own character and it had to feel motivated. So there was a lot of back and forth there between animation, effects department. After the director saw it, we were told, let's add a lot more. And then a lot more turned into a whole lot more.
The biggest thing we did with Harold was we had a beautiful makeup job and prosthetics on set. And then once the scene was kind of cut together, Andre and Guillermo came to us and asked us to kind of elevate it. And the way to do that was they wanted to remove basically his whole midsection and one of his arms so that, the character and the audience can see straight through the scarecrow all the time. So it was great we had something physical on set, but I didn't want to feel like what could be a person in a suit performing. The biggest challenge with the pimple, kind of like a lot of the other challenges, was again being very, very scary, but also we had to be PG-13. So what Andre and Guillermo asked for was kind of the clean version of it, which would be we have the legs stick out without any blood besides like a little tiny bit of swelling. So the whole beginning of the lead up of the sequence was kind of hero animated spiders under her skin, and then the one leg that's mistaken for a hair. And then that really cringeworthy moment where it opens up and the first spider and a few other ones come out, which were all hero animated, and then there's just a wave of simulated spiders.
We realized very early on that keeping the spiders to a physically correct size would not read on screen. It would just be a bunch of dark pixels. So we had to scale them up significantly, cut back on the amount. I think we ended up with about 1,000 to 1,500 in our biggest shot all at once.
Sarah, for the most part, is played by an actress in a wig and makeup, kind of the traditional way, and then she screams, we get the CG hair come up, and we see her skeleton.
The biggest challenge there was the hair. Everything in this film was about having its own personality almost. So there was a lot of simming back and forth there to get the result that they were looking for.
Hey, thanks for watching Staying with Horror. For the movie The Omen, Damien originally had a different name. Screenwriter David Seltzer planned to name his Antichrist Donlan after the total obnoxious brat of a child of a friend, until his wife convinced him that it would be a horrible thing to do to the kid, and not to mention friendship ending. He landed on the Damien after Father Damien, who started the first leper colony in the Hawaiian Islands. Do you like my shirt? You can get one for yourself, and the link in the description.